Welcome the rare gems. You can't control someone who isn't afraid to walk away. This simple truth captures the essence of Sigma females. When it comes to manipulation, most people fall into the trap of emotional games, deceitful tactics, or subtle pressure. But Sigma females, they're a different breed altogether. Trying to manipulate a Sigma female is like trying to catch the wind, futile and frustrating. These women are mentally sharp, emotionally independent, and incredibly self-aware. They've built walls that manipulators simply can't breach, not because they're cold or distant, but because they see through the games others play. In this discussion, we'll dive into the real reasons why Sigma females are nearly impossible to manipulate. Prepare for an eye-opening exploration of their unique mindset and unshakable strength. Stay tuned to the end for a comprehensive understanding and let us know your thoughts at the comments section. Let's get started. Rare gems. Number 1. They view manipulation as a weakness, not a threat. Sigma females have a unique way of looking at manipulation. Instead of seeing it as a threat or something to be afraid of, they recognize it for what it truly is, a sign of weakness. When someone tries to manipulate them, Sigma females don't get caught up in the game. They see right through the tactics and understand that the person trying to control them is the one who's actually insecure and desperate for power. This shift in perception gives Sigma females a massive advantage. Instead of feeling cornered or vulnerable, they feel in control. For a manipulator, this is incredibly frustrating. Their usual tricks fall flat because Sigma females don't react in the expected way. Manipulation relies on fear, confusion, or dependency, but Sigma females are none of those things. They don't need anyone's approval, and they're not afraid of standing alone. So when someone tries to pull strings behind the scenes, they're met with calm indifference, or worse for the manipulator, a cold, calculated response. This ability to see manipulation as a weakness exposes the manipulator's lack of genuine strength. Sigma females aren't just immune to manipulation, they flip the script entirely. The manipulator, once feeling powerful, suddenly finds themselves powerless and, in the eyes of a Sigma female, pitiful. This perspective is one of the reasons why Sigma females remain so unshakable, and why any attempts to control them are doomed to fail. Number 3. Disconnected from the ego. Sigma females have mastered the art of disconnecting from their ego, which makes them almost impossible to manipulate. While many people are driven by a need for validation, status, or image, Sigma females operate on a different wavelength. They don't measure their worth by external standards or what others think of them. This detachment from ego-driven desires gives them a unique strength. Flattery and social pressure simply don't work on them. When someone tries to manipulate a Sigma female by stroking her ego or making her feel important, it falls flat. She doesn't need anyone to tell her she's valuable. She already knows her worth, and it's not tied to anyone else's opinion. Manipulators often use praise and admiration as tools to control others. But with Sigma females, these tactics are ineffective. They see through the shallow compliments and recognize them as attempts to sway their decisions. This detachment also extends to social pressure. Sigma females aren't interested in fitting in or being part of the crowd. They're comfortable standing alone and making choices that align with their values, even if it means going against the grain. This makes it difficult for manipulators to influence them through fear of rejection or exclusion. By disconnecting from the ego, Sigma females free themselves from the traps that ensnare others. They move through life with confidence and clarity, unbothered by the superficial games people play, making manipulation not just challenging, but impossible. Number 4. They study patterns, not promises. Sigma females know that words can be deceiving, which is why they don't get swayed by empty promises or sweet talk. Instead, they focus on patterns of behavior. To them, actions speak louder than words, and consistency over time is the true measure of a person's intentions. This mindset protects them from manipulation because they're not easily fooled by grand gestures or flattering words that aren't backed up by real effort. When someone tries to manipulate a Sigma female with promises of change or future rewards, she doesn't just take their word for it. She looks at their track record. Have they followed through on similar promises in the past? Do their actions match their words? Sigma females pay attention to these details and use them as a gauge for trustworthiness. This approach makes Sigma females immune to a common manipulative tactic known as future faking, where someone makes big promises about what they'll do in the future to keep someone hooked. Sigma females see through this because they understand that promises without consistent action are meaningless. They're not interested in what someone says they'll do. They care about what that person has actually done. By studying patterns, Sigma females can separate those who are genuine from those who are just trying to manipulate. This level of awareness keeps them from falling into traps set by those who rely on charm and empty promises. They demand substance, not just talk, and that makes them nearly impossible to deceive. Number 5. Quantitative impact. Assessment. Sigma. Females have a unique approach when it comes to making decisions. They rely on a more quantitative mindset. Instead of being swayed by emotional appeals or subjective opinions, they prefer to weigh the pros and cons and calculate potential impacts. This analytical way of thinking makes them tough to manipulate because they're not easily influenced by feelings or drama. When faced with a situation, a Sigma female will break it down logically. She'll consider the facts, assess the risks, and think about the possible outcomes. Manipulators who try to use emotional arguments or guilt trips find themselves at a loss because Sigma females prioritize rationality over sentiment. They aren't easily moved by sob stories or exaggerated flattery because they're more interested in what's actually on the table. If something doesn't add up, or if the emotional appeal lacks substance, she'll see right through it. This quantitative approach also means that Sigma females are excellent at spotting when something doesn't make sense. They look at the big picture and consider all angles before making a decision. Manipulators who rely on creating a sense of urgency or playing on emotions are often frustrated by this methodical process. Sigma females don't rush into things, and they don't make decisions based on feelings alone. By focusing on quantitative impact, Sigma females protect themselves from being manipulated. They approach situations with a clear mind and a strong sense of logic, making it difficult for anyone to steer them off course through emotional tactics. Thank you, my favorite people, for subscribing and joining our community. Your support truly means a lot to us. Don't forget to on the bell icon so you stay updated with all our latest videos. Now, at number 6, exceptional intuition. Sigma females have a gift that sets them apart from others: exceptional intuition. This isn't just about having a gut feeling, it's about being able to sense people's motives and intentions with uncanny accuracy. This heightened awareness acts as an internal radar, allowing them to detect manipulative behavior almost immediately. When someone is trying to deceive or control them, a Sigma female often knows it before the other person even realizes they've been caught. Their intuition is a finely tuned tool developed through years of observing and understanding human behavior. Sigma females pay attention to the subtle cues, the tone of voice, body language, and the inconsistencies between what people say and what they actually do. This deep awareness helps them pick up on red flags that others might miss. They don't need long explanations or evidence to know when something is off. They can sense it instinctively. This intuitive ability makes Sigma females nearly impossible to manipulate. Manipulators thrive on deception, but Sigma females are skilled at seeing through the smoke and mirrors. They don't just listen to what someone is saying, they tune into what's really being communicated beneath the surface. Whether it's a hidden agenda or a disingenuous compliment, they can identify it quickly and respond accordingly. Because of their strong intuition, Sigma females trust themselves above all else. They don't second-guess their instincts, and they don't let others sway them from what they know to be true. This unwavering trust in their own judgment keeps them one step ahead of manipulators, making them formidable and unshakable in the face of deceit. Number 7. Contrarian disposition. Sigma. Females possess a naturally contrarian disposition, which means they don't just go along with what everyone else is doing or saying. They have an inherent tendency to question the status quo, challenge popular opinions, and resist being influenced by mainstream tactics. This mindset makes them particularly tough to manipulate because they're not easily swayed by what others think or do. In fact, when they sense that someone is trying to steer them in a certain direction, their instinct is to push back and think critically about the situation. This contrarian nature isn't about being difficult for the sake of it. It's about valuing independence and authenticity. Sigma females are driven by a desire to stay true to themselves, even if that means going against the grain. They don't accept things at face value, and they certainly don't let others dictate their choices. Whether it's a manipulative tactic disguised as a persuasive argument or a social pressure to conform, Sigma females see it for what it is, a challenge to their autonomy. Because of this disposition, Sigma females often reject conventional forms of persuasion and control. They're not interested in following trends or doing things just because it's what's expected. Manipulators who rely on these common tactics find themselves frustrated because Sigma females won't fall into line or accept things without questioning. Their contrarian nature gives them the strength to stand alone and think independently, making them nearly impossible to control. In a world where many people are eager to fit in, Sigma females stand out by refusing to be swayed by the crowd. This makes them not just resistant to manipulation, but also fiercely empowered in their own decisions. Number 8. Their trauma became their toolkit. Sigma females have an extraordinary ability to turn their past traumas into powerful tools for resilience. Rather than letting painful experiences hold them back, they use these challenges as a source of strength. Their scars are not just reminders of what they've been through, they're part of their toolkit for navigating life with unparalleled toughness and wisdom. When faced with manipulation or attempts to exploit their vulnerabilities, Sigma females draw on their past experiences to see through deceit. They've been through enough to recognize the signs of manipulation quickly. Their trauma has taught them valuable lessons about human nature and survival, making them exceptionally adept at spotting when someone is trying to play games with their emotions or exploit their past wounds. This ability to weaponize their experiences means that Sigma females are incredibly hard to break. Their past has made them not just survivors but masters of emotional fortitude. They don't let anyone use their history against them. Instead, they've transformed their wounds into shields of strength. When someone tries to manipulate them by poking at old scars or playing on past insecurities, they respond with a resilience that's rooted in their deep understanding of themselves and their experiences. By turning their trauma into a source of power, Sigma females become nearly unmanipulatable. They don't just overcome their past, they use it as a strategic advantage. This unique approach makes them formidable and unshakable, capable of facing challenges and manipulative tactics with a strength that's born from their very own experiences. Number 9. They've survived worse. Sigma females have a remarkable ability to endure and overcome significant challenges, which makes them incredibly resilient. Many of them have faced profound hardships or trauma that have shaped their mindset and made them exceptionally strong. These experiences have given them a level of toughness that puts typical manipulative tactics in perspective. For Sigma females, dealing with manipulators is relatively trivial compared to the battles they've already fought. When you've been through serious adversity, the usual tricks and emotional games people play simply don't faze you. Sigma females have weathered storms far greater than what any manipulative individual can throw at them. They've come out stronger and more self-assured, having learned valuable lessons from their struggles. This background equips them with a perspective that makes manipulative efforts seem small and insignificant. Manipulators often rely on creating drama or playing on insecurities, but Sigma females have seen and survived much worse. Their past experiences have honed their ability to stay calm and rational no matter how intense the situation. They've developed a kind of emotional armor that shields them from the petty tactics of those who try to control or deceive them. In essence, when Sigma females face manipulation, they're not just dealing with minor annoyances. They're handling it with the knowledge and strength gained from overcoming far greater challenges. This makes them not just resilient, but almost impervious to manipulation. as they've already proven their ability to rise above and triumph over the most trying circumstances. Number 10. Self-sabotage isn't in their vocabulary. Sigma females have mastered the art of self-discipline to the extent that self-sabotage is simply not in their vocabulary. They don't engage in behaviors that undermine their own success or well-being. Where many might struggle with self-doubt or fall into patterns of self-sabotage, Sigma females have worked hard to eliminate these vulnerabilities. Manipulators often prey on people's insecurities, hoping to exploit self-doubt or create situations where someone undermines their own goals. But Sigma females are not easy targets. They've built a strong foundation of self-awareness and self-control, which means they don't let negative thoughts or destructive habits take over. Their approach to life involves a constant focus on personal growth and maintaining a positive mindset. Instead of letting insecurities control their actions, Sigma females actively work on their strengths and weaknesses, ensuring that their behaviors align with their goals. They're aware of their potential pitfalls and take proactive steps to avoid them. This relentless self-discipline means they're less susceptible to manipulative tactics that rely on shaking their confidence or creating doubt. In essence, Sigma females have made a conscious effort to remove self-sabotage from their lives. They approach challenges with a clear, determined mindset and have developed habits that support their success rather than hinder it. This makes them incredibly difficult to manipulate because their focus is always on progress and resilience, leaving no room for the kind of self-destructive behavior that manipulators often exploit. In conclusion, Sigma females are incredibly tough to manipulate, and it all comes down to their unique traits and mindset. Their exceptional intuition allows them to see through deceit, while their focus on quantitative impact means they're not swayed by empty promises or emotional appeals. They've disconnected from ego, which makes flattery and social pressure ineffective. Their contrarian disposition drives them to question and resist mainstream tactics, and their past experiences have become powerful tools for resilience. Self-sabotage simply isn't part of their game plan, as they've mastered self-discipline and personal growth. In short, Sigma females have built a solid defense against manipulation by trusting their instincts, relying on logic, and staying true to themselves. They don't fall for the usual tricks because they've been through too much and learned too well. Their strength lies in their ability to stay focused on what really matters to them and reject any attempts to control or deceive them. This makes them not just resistant but nearly impervious to manipulation, leaving those who try to influence them with little chance of success. Thanks for watching, Rare Gems. See you next time. Bye for now and take care. God bless.